Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
about that time.
Woo, what Birdman say? We did it already. You did. We did it already. Hey, y'all, check this out. Welcome back to episode a nickel, episode 5. What you want to say about that, Mr. Flowers?
Cinco.
And my name is Mr. James Mack here with you, and this is Mr. Flowers. Go ahead and say something to the people,
It's
Mr.
the
Flowers.
fantastic one. But yeah, man. So we got episode 5 going on. We have a huge show here going on this evening. We're going to be talking about reparations.
Yeah. More importantly, America, y'all owe us millions of dollars. Millions
is I think that's kind of an understatement. I think it's more, they made trillions and trillions and quadruple trillions and all that good stuff on cotton.
Off cotton.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they still making millions on millions on millions on cotton.
Yeah, for sure.
And so America is considered the richest country in the world.
Facts.
Based on the backs of our ancestors.
And that's what's crazy, because we really about to get into letting y'all know how they trying to set it up right now with the PPP loan scandal and all that to really put y'all back into slavery. But I'm gonna touch on that in just a minute. You feel me? They got a plan for you. I just want to take this time to let y'all know y'all watching the Status Podcast. All right, we talking about a various number of issues. If you're looking for the shucking and jiving, if you're looking for somebody to walk on crates, to go in here dancing and doing all this here, we not here for that. We bringing the issues that's affecting our community. We even getting into some deep stuff. We even gonna go back sooner or later and get to some real deep stuff. But we bringing in news that you can use. This is a call-in show, so we most definitely want y'all to feel free. The number is down at the bottom. You see it. Go ahead and call in, and more importantly, share this live. Like, this is so important, because when somebody getting knocked out or somebody got their wig snatched off or something, y'all hurry up and push the share button and share that. You know what I mean? But when it's something positive, I don't see too many of y'all sharing the motivational speakers or the entrepreneurs. Man, come on now, step your game up, because that's what we talking about right now.
Maybe we was on here talking about black women and talking about how they look like linebackers and all that kind of stuff. How my boy Kevin Samuels used to do. Maybe they'll share it there.
And we gonna start talking about that.
Maybe we get thousands of followers at that point.
We gonna start talking about that too. You better go and get in the gym. We gonna start talking about that. But more importantly, like I said, we trying to bring the issues to the forefront. That's how we're gonna build our platform. Yeah, we're gonna have some good guests on here real soon in this middle part. But we want y'all to know, stay tuned. Support. Press that live button, share that. You know what I mean? Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTubes and everything, to the Facebook, Instagram, all that old type of stuff. Come on in with us.
Get them likes up.
Get them like what that man said. We're gonna wait until y'all get them likes up, but we really ain't though. But so we go, keep it moving like that. This is a call-in show. Please feel more than comfortable to go ahead and give us a call. We want to hear what you got to say, man. This is important to us.
I know y'all just getting off work. Go and kick them shoes off.
Yeah.
Get in front, get your glass of wine,
and sit
in front of that laptop, that computer.
Yeah.
And do the doggone thing. Just
because we're about to give you some news you can use.
And
so
it's very interactive.
You know what I mean? And it's not gonna blow your fuse. All right. So first things first, check this out. What we talking about today is America owe us millions of dollars. They owe us millions of dollars, period, point blank. All right. Why they owe us millions of dollars? I was talking to someone about this, and they were saying, well, America doesn't owe you anything. And I was like, America doesn't owe us anything? We're going to get to the facts in a minute here, Mr. Flowers. We're going to get to the facts, because America do owe us something.
Well, imagine if somebody came to if you went and got picked somebody up out of their yard, right?
Out the yard.
And brought them to your yard and said, doggone it, you gonna mow this grass, and you gonna rake this yard,
Yeah.
you gonna build this, you just gonna build everything.
Right.
And then they do it so well that you then say, okay, well, I think we might be on to something. So let's go ahead and get his sister, his brother, his auntie, his mama, his dad, his cousins, a whole 9 yards. Let's bring all of them over here.
Right.
And force them
Yeah.
to do the manual labor.
The manual labor, back breaking. You say they bought us over here.
Oh no, of course.
Okay.
And of course, if you look at history, if you look at the dialogue of everything, yes, the original slaves were POWs,
prisoners of war.
Correct.
For people that don't understand it, prisoners of war. How so? How were they prisoners of war?
Because at that time, the Africans and the Spaniards, the England, they at that point of time had an arrangement,
right?
And so the initial slaves, the first slave ship, and we're gonna get into a whole. I'm gonna give you the Morpheus, right?
Yeah.
You got the red pill and the blue pill.
Right.
The red pill, you go back, you cut your teeth, you cut your computer off, and you don't want to hear anything.
Right.
But the blue one, we go down the rabbit hole as far as the rabbit hole will take us. Right. And so the first slave ship, right, and the name of the original slave ship was Jesus of Lubbock.
That was the original.
The first slave
not
ship.
Santa Maria.
No, the first slave ship. The name of it was Jesus of Lubbock.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's where the Jesus comes from.
Right.
Right? And so Jesus of Lubbock actually didn't even come to the Americas. Jesus of Lubbock was the ship that landed in what they call Haiti.
Right.
And so so you have that, you have Jesus of Lubbock that landed in Haiti. Haiti, they didn't come to America. So that is actually when slavery started.
Right. Okay. Right.
Okay. And so yes, the original slaves didn't touch the Americas until the 1619.
Okay, hold on. Let me throw this in there because it's important.
Right.
We had African, I guess you can call them sailors. We had African sailors that was moving about the world before Columbus, before any of them Spaniards even started sailing.
Merchants.
You know what I mean? So they was traveling and they was in boats and things like that. Coming to it, they already had came to America. They
was trading with the natives at that point in time. So a lot of the things that was already over here, if you think about it, like the black eyed peas and a lot of the vegetables we as Americans have grown accustomed to. Yeah, most of that is not the origin even North America.
Yeah, cows and things like that. They got that stuff from Africa.
The origin is Africa. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I said merchants when you was going through your description. They were merchants because they was actually, that was the what we now know as the American China embargo. Right. At that point, it was the African Native Americas embargo. Right. So Africa was already coming over here trading their current whatever currency.
And we talking about way back. We talking about with the ancient Aztecs. We talking about they was half African. With the big noses and carrying on. Right. They was already, they had came from Egypt with the pyramids and things like that, bringing that technology. So we talking about way, they was already in California. They was already in Mexico.
California is actually the name of an actual Egyptian, or not Egyptian, but an African queen.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Cali is the actual name. And of course it goes way more in depth. Right. You know what I'm saying? You have California, who's the name of an African goddess, African queen. Yeah. And then of course we're not going to even get into Charlotte. Right. And then
oh my goodness, that's a whole nother story. We're gonna touch that.
And so there's actual little inklings of or intricacies of different names and different Mooresville, right? All that different type of stuff. So even Washington D.C. was actually designed and created by a black person, which is why they call it Chocolate City.
Man, we're gonna get into that for sure. You be touching on them, but go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish that.
But anyway, we was talking about how they owe us.
Yeah.
everything comes from which is why it's called the motherland.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we was already coming over. Well, when I say we, I'm talking about African.
Yeah.
You know,
we was already coming
we
over.
was already coming over.
Yeah.
Which is why we actually gave them the Spaniards and the British and so forth. We actually gave them the route.
Yeah,
or
gave
the,
them some
or the
understanding.
route
Right.
of how to get here.
Yeah, gave them some understanding.
That actual current.
Right.
Actually, you know, that's the well known. Every hurricane takes that same current.
Right.
And everybody said that's the ancestor spirits coming, you know, moving. No, it's the current that they've been using since the beginning of time.
And they was watching the stars because we was master sellers in the first place, coming off the Gold Coast, coming off of places like that. So they already watched the stars and knew how to get back. That was the GPS, is watching the stars, watching the moon, and they can get back to where they need to get to.
Right. Master astrologers.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I also want to touch on one subject as well. Now, we do have a situation where we had the Moors, you know what I mean?
Morocco,
you
for
know what I
those
mean?
for those who trying to figure out where the origin of Moors come from.
Now, these was the richest black people, besides some other people on the other side of Africa. But on the Gold Coast, this was some of the richest individuals, the Moorish. And they was all the way up in Italy and everything. They used to get worshipped by, you know, white people, especially in like Europe and stuff like that. Well, not necessarily Europe, but like in Italy, Rome and stuff like that, because they was rich Africans. But they helped initiate the whole movement with the slave. They helped talk slaves into being traded, and they used to get spices, they used to get gold, all different type of things to help y'all get on the ship. It's gonna be all right. Come on. And when y'all get down there on the coast, they got guns, they got all type of stuff. Get up on here now. And they use the cross to help you understand that this is a new world, a new religion. It's gonna be better than what you got here. Trust me, they ain't never seen no ship this size. They ain't never seen nobody with no pistols and no guns. They never even seen people with fireworks, all different type of spices, clothing, jewels that they came from Europe with and stuff like that. So you dealing with some advanced Africans that actually sold us out. Unfortunately, I have to say it like that. That sold us out in the first place.
Well, you have to understand. You have to even go back a little further.
Okay.
Because the Mali Empire,
right? The Mali. Okay.
Was actually the richest. That's where your Mansa Musa came from.
Mansa Musa, the richest person in the world.
And for those who don't know who Mansa Musa is, Bill Gates,
do your homework.
Elon Musk. None of these cats have nothing on Mansa. But actually, they're getting ready to make a movie about Mansa Musa.
Do your homework.
But Mansa Musa
corrupted countries by giving away gold, throwing it in the air.
So as a kid, I don't know. I don't think my kids know anything about the King Midas.
Okay.
The Midas touch. Everything he touched turned to gold.
Man.
So King Midas is actually
this knowledge, y'all.
King Midas is actually derived from Mansa Musa, because Mansa Musa was so rich.
So rich.
The richest man ever on the planet
Still
Earth.
To this day.
He was so rich that he literally used to bankrupt countries.
Yes.
When he would go into them by giving away gold.
Talk that talk.
So that's why. So that is one of the main reasons why the Anglo-Saxons,
right?
The Spaniards,
that's
and the
white
British
people,
and so forth. That's why they came to Africa, because they wanted to, and they could not defeat him. He was so powerful. They couldn't defeat him.
Crazy.
So going back to what you was describing as far as the Moors is concerned, and the Moors setting us out, it was the fact that the firearms, and that this is how far back firearms go.
Yeah.
Because
built by the Chinese people.
Right. So firearms is what took out Mansa Musa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how the Europeans and so forth, infiltrated the Mali Empire.
Yeah.
And then of course after they took over the Mali Empire, then they started migrating and started, settling in all different parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Because once they got rid of the hub, then it was over from there.
So let's get some more understanding. The people that started this trade was Spaniards, Spanish people. These wasn't your Europeans that was in Europe. These was Spaniards. They was the master sellers. They was the people going to Queen Elizabeth, these other queens, and getting a blessing to go ahead and do these type of journeys. They got funded by Europe to do these journeys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Britain and things like that. They got funded to go out there, and they failed numerous times, lost boats and everything. But when they hit, and they found another, you know, they was doing spices, they was doing fireworks, they was doing all this, and then they hit for something.
Absolutely.
We hit for something.
Absolutely. The smartest people, and granted they could like to call us dumb and stupid and so forth, but that's just, it is what it is. But coming from the master astrologers, the master builders, of course, fashion,
master sellers,
yeah. Of course, fashion and all that stuff comes from the Moors.
Yeah.
So your alligator shoes and your silk ties,
all type of gold necklaces,
all of that stuff come from
crown,
the Moors. And so you got all that stuff going on, and so it's just one of those things. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, it's okay. So, I got you.
Go ahead.
They was the richest, so therefore, so we were saying like, these people that started this trade were Spaniards. You know what I mean?
Right.
They actually. So when I say they hit some, now they done found a new cargo. They done found a new thing to sell.
Right.
And when they came to America, I don't believe, and I'll have to do some more research, but they didn't necessarily have this thing figured out. But when they got here, it was some other people here already. You understand me? It was some other people here already, and they found the new world. Now, I don't know exactly how it transpired where they decided, okay, we're about to take these slaves over here and sell these people. You know what I mean? I'm not quite sure. I don't think I did my history. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know exactly how that transpired, but I know that trade started happening. Okay. And when they would bring, if you take anybody to a foreign land, they were fooled, they were tricked. But when you get on the sea and it's y'all against these people with these guns.
Well, I mean, when you're shackled at the bottom.
Okay, yeah, let's go to that. When you shackled up.
Now, I've had the extreme privilege of being able to go to Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And I've had the extreme privilege of being able to go to Ghana and to Nigeria.
Right.
And so, of course, those three areas is where most of us and our ancestors come from.
Yeah.
They literally have a cave in Ghana.
Oh yeah.
Where they used to transport, the Nigerians to and hold them captive inside that cave until the ship came.
Right.
And then of course they would escort you from the cave into the ship.
All down the Gold Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
And then of course the same thing with Sierra Leone. So when I hear people sometimes talk about how, because there's a lot of Nigerians here in Miami.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Africans, period, but there's quite a few Nigerians, and Nigerians is popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. As far as Ghana and Cameroon and so forth. So I hear people talking about that. And I want to say so badly, like, dude, that might be your cousin.
Right.
That might be your uncle or your auntie. That might be your cousin, because that's where the bulk, that's where the vast majority of our ancestors come from.
Right.
And if you hear the Haitians talk, or you hear the Dominicans talk, because it's the same island, it's just split in half. The border is just split in half. You'll hear that dialect, and you'll see some of the customs and some of the practices that they kept.
And I just want to elaborate on it. They was able to keep that because guess what? They was never colonized. They've been African countries. They've been black countries from the beginning all the way up to now.
Well, you had the revolution. You know what I'm saying? So the Haitians actually fought back and won.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why a lot of people say that Haiti's the poorest country, and it's not because they don't know how to handle. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've never been to Haiti, but I know quite a few people that's been to Haiti. And Haiti is literally a beautiful country. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, just like any other country, it has its hoods.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the houses, the way the houses are built, the whole 9 yards, it's a beautiful country. Now, the reason why they were quote unquote poor, you know what I'm saying, is because France because they took over, because they fought back and took over, France then taxed them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so because they were taxed, and the tax basically was because they were still property.
Mm-hmm.
They literally had to pay for their freedom, and it just ended like a couple years ago, like like what, about 5-10 years ago, something like that. But anyway, that just what I'm saying. So now they have their freedoms. I just read somewhere there where they're supposed to get paid X, Y, Z billions of dollars. But now, as you see on the news, I've been, I don't watch the TV, but I've been watching the news recently. You're starting to see all of these different capsules floating up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they getting out of there. Yeah,
and they getting out of there. So you're talking hundreds of people all in one capsule.
And them some rough waters.
Right. But anyway, so long story short, about that, we're just they owe us.
Yeah.
Think about all the things that we've literally had to endure.
Yeah.
Just to get to this point.
And we gonna get into that. I just want to say real quick that we want to welcome y'all to the Status Podcast. We are here again by the grace of God, and we giving you some news you can use. So what I want y'all to do is go ahead and push that like button, go ahead and push that share button, go ahead and share some real educational stuff, some real knowledge, some real stuff that's gonna go deep, because I don't see people sharing that on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So y'all come on, we going live from Miami, Florida, beautiful Miami, Florida, and we're in an area that I just found out the other day that this is one of the first black businesses in Brickell.
Really?
Somebody actually came and told me that he been here for 60 years, and he said this is the first African American business in Brickell. And I was like, no way. He was like, yeah, you doing something legendary right here. We doing something legendary right here. So
that's what's up.
That's just another testament to how God works sometimes.
So that's two cities. Two cities and two establishments.
I don't know if we was the first in Charlotte, but we definitely did some.
But the first in the epicenter.
Yeah. Well, no, that was brother with the smoke shop, brother Preston Gray. He was the first person there. I came a month after him.
Okay.
So I gotta give that up to him. But yeah, we were the first there. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we're gonna continue going on with this show. Now, the name of the show again today is America Owes Us Millions. And a lot of people can't understand why we deserve reparations. I was talking to a Caucasian individual that I held close to me. But after we had this conversation, I kind of looked at her in a different type of way. You feel me? So when we was talking, everything was good. And then I was like, we was talking about some deep race stuff, but it was light, but we was going there. And I'm like, we definitely need some reparations. She was like, whoa, what do you need reparations for? All you guys are going to do is just spend the money on BS or designer clothes and stuff like that. You don't need money. What you need is education. They should just give all of you guys some free education. And I looked at her like, whoa. And that really broke our
free education.
That broke our relationship up, because I was like, well, how you look at what's going on? She's like, it's going on because nobody wants to go to school, or don't nobody want to get off their lazy ass, and I'm like, whoa, the white person
privilege
that I always expected came out.
Privilege.
But I thought she was an abolitionist, but she wasn't.
Listen, I have some Caucasian people who I hold near and dear to my heart. These are conversations that I don't think I want to have with them,
because you're gonna know the truth, huh?
Right? And they mean too much to me to, to squander that relationship.
I feel you on that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Certain things I like, certain avenues. I feel like it's almost like you don't want to talk money with your brother.
Hey, they tell you when you're in a relationship with the female, when you're in a relationship with the female, they tell you don't ask if you don't want to know.
Exactly. So if you don't want to know, don't even talk about it. Don't even bring it up.
Okay, I would ask you another question.
Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna keep going, because then it's gonna lead to something else, and we're gonna stick on this topic. But anyway, so let's get back to right now what we're doing. We're just trying to figure out how all this came about, because I think it's important for us to understand, first of all, what happened, and then why do we deserve this money? Why should we get this money?
Well, but I just want to harp on something that you
please be my guest.
based on what you guys just gonna just spend it on, bullshit.
That's a distraction. This Miami, Florida, y'all. I'm telling you, good Lord, have mercy. Anyway,
on some, you just gonna spend it on some bullshit, right?
Yeah,
that's what she said.
That's what she said, straight up and down.
What happened to, I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay,
that's where I was born.
Yeah,
right. I didn't spend long there, but that's where I was born.
Facts.
Right, and of course we already know what happened to Tulsa back in 19. What
we might have to expound on that in a little bit, because a lot of people don't know.
But what I am going to talk about is every time we as a people stood our own ground and had our own communities and had our own businesses and had our own Black Wall Street and all this different type of stuff, right?
Yeah,
they came and tore it out. So you got Tulsa, because a lot of people don't know, and I have to share the info. You not only did you have Tulsa, of course they made a movie about Rosewood. A lot of people don't know that Lake Lanier, in Atlanta, in Georgia, that lake is literally covering a Black community. You know what I'm saying? That was a prominent Black community. And they just said, of course they flooded it. You know what I'm saying? And so now, I've been tubing in Lake Lanier
through the hood. You've been tubing through the hood, y'all. Come on, y'all.
I didn't win boating and tubing and all that kind of stuff, right?
Y'all said this live.
Not to mention, you know what I'm saying, and God rest his soul, but Usher's, the singer, his son drowned in Lake Lanier.
That's deep.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and then of course you got Central Park, in New York,
black owned.
That was a Black community.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? They shuffled them up out of there,
right,
and made their park,
right.
So Central Park was literally a Black community.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of our prominent communities.
Let me add a couple real quick. Charlotte, North Carolina, Brooklyn neighborhood, Uptown. Where the epicenter was, where I got the store at. All up in the littlest Martin Luther King Boulevard in the nation. About 4 blocks long. That was all Black doctors, lawyers, scientists, all type of carpenters, everything. What they do, tear down, made a park.
Right.
We can go right here in Miami, Florida, Overtown.
Oh, they just destroyed Overtown.
They put a 8-lane freeway. That's the lowest freeway I ever seen in my life. Like, I almost feel like you got to bend down just to walk under it, which is going right through the neighborhood that used to be Black owned. You know what I mean? They put that right there through the neighborhood.
Right.
Overtown. It was, musicians, jazz players. It was speakers. I think even Martin Luther King came through or something like that.
Lee had a house over there.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And you gonna tell me y'all gonna just put a freeway right through there? Same thing happens with Savannah, Georgia. You go to the hood in Savannah, Georgia, they put the big old freeway right through the hood.
Right. And that's generally what they do with it. They either gonna put a expressway in there to take the land.
Yeah.
Because they did the same thing in Tulsa.
Eminent domain.
Not only did they burn it down, of course, but if you go back to Tulsa, there's a huge freeway running through
right through the
Greenwood,
prominent African American areas.
Right, Greenwood.
Yeah.
And so, or they flood it, or they take the land and make a park.
A beautiful park.
Which is, it's a beautiful park, but it's a lot of bullshit that go down.
Even in Pearl, in Charlotte, they have Pearl Park, which is up the street from Uptown.
Yeah.
And they made it into a park. It was it was so much, cleaners and all type of things in there.
Right. So when people say, of course the saying is pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
Yeah.
So anytime we pulled ourselves up by our own bootstraps, they took the damn boots.
They took the boots, left you with the straps. They left you with the straps. This ain't even a laughing matter. They left you with the straps and they took the boots. We gonna get to how did this even come about? Because we put on the show that, you understand me, we put on the show that America owes us millions, and I know you sitting back thinking, man, y'all doing a lot of laughing and giggling, but how America owe y'all anything? Well, check this out. Let's get to some facts right now, and I know you got some too. It was to the tune of over 5 million slaves. You hear what I'm saying? It was to the tune of over 5 million slaves.
It's a lot of cities that don't even have that many people in it.
What? We talking about and now we talking about at this time in the 1800s. Most of the North was not even really populated yet. So the bustling areas and the more prominent areas of the United States was in the South.
Right.
You know, all along the South. You know what I mean? When you get to up north and you start talking about those areas, that was more Indians and people that was here even before.
Let's say Native Americans.
Let's say black people that made it here first. Let's say that, because
we don't want the red, we don't want the fallback from the Native Americans.
Well, they got reparations, but I'm gonna get into that in just a second. But however the case may go, check this out. So in 1865, they had a war here, right? So you got the Civil War, right? So they had to recruit people, you know, because the slave owners wasn't giving up their slaves to fight in the war. And the slave owners weren't about to go fight in the war. We not about to go fight in no war, and you're not about to take our slaves and go fight in the war because we need these slaves.
Because you're costing us money.
Yeah, we trying to make this money. You know what I'm saying? Plus, we like these black women, all type of stuff going on. You know what I mean? And they getting us. We good over here. So they allowed slaves to buy their freedom for $1,000. And could you imagine $1,000 in the 1800s? Man, that's almost like $1 million.
Yeah.
In silver and gold. You had to save up that much money to free your family. But brothers did it. All right. So you free your family, and now they say we recruiting black people. If you want to come on and fight, all right. If you want to fight, and if you free, we'll go ahead. And when this is all said and done, not only we gonna give you a little something for your family right now, but we're gonna give you 40 acres of tillable land and a mule when all this is said and done. All right. So they put together this proclamation, you could say, in 1865. This was General William Sherman. Okay. He promised this. And he made good on this promise. You know, at one point it was 40,000 families situated on 400 square feet of tillable land between Georgia and South Carolina. Okay. And they had their own community that was doing their thing. You know, it was a lot of education going on, but this just was here. This wasn't all, you know, it was still slaves that was in bondage, everything. And we're gonna get into what happened. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to, you know, give all the juice away right now, but let's just stop right there for a minute. You talking about a government, because at the time the president was President Lincoln. Okay. So he was supposedly, AKA low key, black anyway.
But you know, he actually, I read something where the initial plan was to put all the blacks on an island.
Okay, cool.
So that was the initial plan.
Okay.
It wasn't to just free them. It was to take all the blacks, to take all the slaves, and they call it Cow Island, but it's close to, it's an island that's over near Haiti, right? And colonize all of us on this island, called Cow Island,
right?
Over there. So that was the initial plan, but of course, you know, they wasn't having that.
Yeah.
And so, but go ahead. I just want to throw that little fact.
I'm glad you brought that up. So they promised us, you know, at a meeting in Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia is very important, and Charleston. We're gonna get into that, and they still run the nation right now. Believe it or not, those families from that time still had them houses down there, and they still have meetings down there. You wonder why Kanye West was running for president? The first place he go is Charleston, South Carolina. I'm gonna let that sit on y'all for a second. Anyway, so at that time you had black Republicans. You see what I'm saying? General Sherman was a Republican. Okay, so they were fighting for black people to help them get what was owed to them, because they see what's happening to them. They see how it's going down. At this point, slavery is really in full swing. At this point, you had some free slaves that was born into slavery and all type of things. So what do you do when you get promised this and you got all these people to the tune of 40,000, but that was just who got the land. But you had million, I don't want to say million, but hundreds of thousands of soldiers that signed up to fight this war and won. All right, to fight this war. They killed so many white people. You know what I mean, for these white people, and they got their land, and we're talking about 400,000 acres of land, of tillable land. So I want to stop right there because I'm gonna talk about what happened though. How do you think that would have benefit us if we would have been able to keep that much land then?
Well, how would it have benefited us? It would have been.
I'm talking about black folks able to.
We would have our own states and cities, at that point. But you was talking about Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we also know that that's why your current president kind of really got elected is because of the I can't think of what his name is right now.
Biden?
Not Biden. I know the president's name, Biden. I'm talking about what's the guy, the black guy, who actually endorsed him out of South Carolina.
I'm not even sure.
But he actually endorsed Biden.
Okay.
And he's the actual the senator or the governor or somebody from South Carolina.
Yeah.
And not to mention, because you were talking about how blacks were Republicans at that point.
Right.
Blacks used to be Republicans.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Of course,
right.
the ideology of the Republican Party was actually it didn't switch until just recently, probably within like the 30s, like the 20s or 30s.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the ideology switched. However, I said all that to say,
right,
we got to go back to Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
And that fiasco that happened in Wellington.
Okay.
Because of course at that point, that's when blacks was taking, they was taking high positions in the government.
Right.
Congress
mm-hmm.
and senators and so forth.
Yeah.
And then of course the newspaper incident happened in Wilmington
mm-hmm.
and caused, that, and that's what wiped all the blacks out of Congress and
mm-hmm.
so forth. And that's what put all the whites back in there.
Right.
But go ahead. I know you was making.
No, that's real what you're saying. I just want to. I had really put on the. I had really said the Republican thing because the preachers was the main powerful people back then. The preachers,
mm-hmm.
They wouldn't help push this law into action. They got behind the general. The general had the help from Lincoln, who thought it was a good idea. So he actually passed the law saying that if you fought in a war and you was a free man, then you get 40 acres. And then after you get the 40 acres, you're going to get a mule to till it and grow whatever you want. Now we talking about in slavery, brother. We talking about that point where if you was able to get 40 acres, bro, do you know how big that is?
That's a lot of doggone acres. But, but again, I don't think it was just concentrated on, in that area that you discussed, which is South Carolina up to Georgia.
Yes,
you got to think about. I think it was like Oklahoma, and Nebraska and stuff
mm-hmm.
like that as well.
So this land was dedicated to the coastline from Savannah up to Charleston.
So that's where you get the Geechees and stuff from.
That's where you get the Geechees and everything, and that's where you get the Indians. And I forget the name of the Indians, but they was. So this is, and I don't want to get too far off subject, but this is where you get the saying of you got Indian in your blood, because they had black Indians down there that was already free when we got here. And
Blackfoot?
Man, they never was brung into slavery.
Okay.
They never was taken into slavery. So if you would escape from a plantation in South Carolina somewhere, you can actually link up with those Indians, wherever the reservation is. If you can get there, you can link up with those Indians and you'll be free. You will be good. Of course, you'll have to stay with them because you ain't got no papers, but you will be legit with the Indians because they wasn't having it. You know what I mean? But like I said, so. And that's just one for y'all that, y'all might want to really write that down somewhere. So this was promised to us, but guess what? They turn around And when Lincoln was assassinated, right? And I don't know if he was assassinated at this point, but when the new president, Andrew Jackson, in 1865 was what came into office, he's a Democrat.
That's when everything changed.
Andrew Jackson was a Democrat.
Right.
So now he rallied with the slave owners to go ahead and take the land back and give it back to the slave. Oh, I missed a point. So the Republicans took land from slave owners that already had the land. So they did an eminent domain thing.
Mhm.
We're going to take all this land. Y'all got to find somewhere to split to. And we're going to get this to these slaves
Okay.
that fought in the war. They wasn't really feeling that. So they waited till Andrew Jackson got in office. They got around the tables, the Democrats, and they said, we finna take this land back.
Not to mention he had slaves.
Of course.
Okay.
So they took the land back and gave it back to the slave owners. So you sitting on your 40 acres, you doing good, you tilling, you messing around and getting you some cotton going, you finna be a rich man.
Mm-hmm.
Your family finna be good.
Agriculture.
Y'all
Big
finna,
shout out to the African American farmers too, by the way.
facts.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Y'all about to be good. And then they turn around and take that whole little thing away and take the land back.
Mhm.
Could you imagine how that feel? And we can't even imagine how many brothers and sisters got smoked and killed over trying to stand up over their land. Y'all not gonna take my land back. Wow. Yes, we is. You out of there. This ours now. Huh? Took it back.
So, with that being said, I just got a few questions for you. 'Cause
Okay.
You giving me a lesson right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're so Carolina, Georgia, they're connected, and then you got North Carolina. So most of your prisons is in those three states.
Well, not now. Most of your prisons are located in Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, the Rust Belt. There is still a lot of them in North Carolina and South Carolina, but the northern states is where most of the prisons are now.
Okay, gotcha. All right, but go ahead, carry on.
Yeah. So, and once again, y'all watching the Status Podcast. You know, we giving y'all some real deep news tonight, so you may not be rolling around holding your stomach, giggling. You might want to open your ears and open your mind and pay attention, because we giving you some news you can use. Back in the day, they used to do this type of stuff on Amtrak. They used to take the Amtrak from Miami to Chicago, and every stop that they stopped, they had meetings where they'll let you know what the fashion is, the new news with the racism. We talking about in 1950 and 1940. We talking about people coming off the train with perms down south. You like, what's
With
that
that
in your
conch.
head? You know, what's that?
That
Oh, let
conch
me hip
in
you
there.
to the news, baby. Let me pull your coattail. You know, put you on the news. You know. And this is how they share news. I mean, early. I'm talking about in the 1900s. So I'm gonna get back to what happened, but that's the gist of it. I'm gonna get back to that. But I want to address one thing, and we were talking about this the other day. I want y'all to understand that slavery was not that long ago.
No, your great grandmother or your great great grandmother was probably on a plantation or just removed from a plantation.
Slavery wasn't that far ago. So when somebody say, "Well, that's not our problem," your granddad had a slave. We got a caller right now. We're gonna let this brother get on. Let's give us 1 second here. We're gonna get on. Hey, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the podcast. Talk to us tonight. Oh, we got to get that brother back on. I don't know what happened. Go ahead, Mr. Flowers, while I'm getting this brother back on.
But yeah, I'm just sitting here puzzled and pondering, because I'm sitting here like yeah, they owe us quite a bit. You start talking about the slavery stuff, and then of course about the Civil War, and then I'm sitting here thinking about the movie Glory,
Yeah.
You know, and this with Denzel and Morgan Freeman. But go ahead.
Hey,
How's it going, brother Jay and brother Flowers?
What's
How you
going on,
doing?
brother Carlos? We got you on the show, baby. Go ahead and give us some science, man.
What's going on, man? I just want to congratulate you guys on what you guys doing with the platform. And, you know, you're talking about reparations tonight. You know, I wanted to just go ahead and, you know, give my take on reparations, if you guys will allow me to.
Do your thing, brother, please.
All right, man. With so many failed attempts with the original colonies, the dominant society needed our help. Through the blood, sweat, tears, and years of our ancestors building this nation, you know, we deserve reparations. We deserve reparations. You can't put a dollar amount on what our ancestors endured. But I can honestly tell you that it should be more than what the Native Americans are receiving. And with you spoke on earlier when you was talking to one of your friends, you know, and that's what the dominant society use. They use shaming tactics to detour the momentum of getting on reparations. They use shaming tactics like pull yourself up by your bootstrap. And we know, like Brother Flowers was saying, when they say pull yourself up by your bootstraps, we have prosperous communities that we built, and they hinder and sabotage businesses. And they tell us basically, you're not working hard. And we know that they benefit the most off of benefits like the Homestead Act and white flight, and also welfare. Welfare was created in 1930 to benefit white women because their husband had dangerous jobs in the coal mine and things like that. So we have to be careful, you know, like Brother Flowers said, who we talk to, because they use shaming tactics. What you gonna spend the money on? You know, they never question what the Native Americans spend their money on. They get, you know, they spend their money, they get drunk, they get high, probably get their check on Friday and don't even have lunch money on Monday. So with that being said, when we get reparations, we have to have a code of conduct.
Absolutely.
We have to stop throwing each other under the bus. We have to start respecting each other. You know, and we also have to have an agenda. Once we get the reparation, we have to have an agenda. You know, everyone that's Black can't receive these benefits. You know, our Caribbean brothers, our, you know, African brothers, they're not included in this package. You have to be lineage based, going to the 1870 census. And, you know, if most Black people can find, you know, who they're, you know, going back to trace their, you know, go back to the 18th census to, you know, find their lineage, you know, that'll be no problem. And also we have to practice group economics. You know, we have to practice group economics. And the last thing, the most important thing that we have to do, and we have to list ourselves as a protected class.
Wow.
You know, because it's nothing that we can do, you know, didn't do that, you know, because why accumulate the wealth and get the benefits and we're not protected? And it's a harsh reality that we might not receive the benefits. So we have to start figuring out ways as a collective group to get things popping. You know, we have to get everybody involved. We have to get everybody involved. And once we get everybody involved and we're on one accord and all the cylinders are clicking, you know, then we become a high value race.
Ooh-wee.
That's science right there, brother. You dropping science. You want to tell them anything else?
I think that's it for right now. That's my take, you know, on reparations. I gave us, you know, a lot of information when we get what we should do, the agenda, the code of conduct. I told us about the shaming tactics that the dominant society uses. You know, I talked about the failure of the original colonies, you know, and they needed our help.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this country wouldn't be the modern America, which it is right now, without the labor, you know, and a lot of the times, you know, and it's still everybody's benefiting from the labor, you know, the free labor, except for us. And that's why we need reparations. Everybody's benefiting and getting secondary gains from the free labor. We need to get our check, you know, and just like like Dr. Martin Luther King said, you know, he led his people into a burning house. And integration was the worst thing for us, basically. And just like the brother Dr. John Henry Clark said, we have no allies, we have no friends. All right, brother Jay, and I appreciate what you guys.
Look, we over here stuck. The show over, man. It's been a good night. Brother, you dropped science.
I appreciate you guys, you know, and, you know, opening up your platform to someone like me, you know, to be able to talk about reparations. You know, you guys are unbelievable. I like what you guys are doing. You know, I prep just like you guys prep for the shows. After, you know, the show, before y'all even got home, I was, you know, doing my research and preparing for today.
Well, get ready for next week. You want to tell them where they can find you, what you're doing?
Moving, you know, that's what I specialize in. The moving consultant. You can find me on Instagram, Carlos Smith 355. And if you need moving services, you can reach out through those platforms.
All right, my brother, you gave us a lot to think about. We finna get back on it. We appreciate you, and we can't wait until next week.
All right, thanks a lot. Y'all have a good night.
All right, brother Carlos. Hey, he not just moving furniture, he moving minds over there.
He moving minds. That brother coming with. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you. No, the show over with, brother. Carlos. That man
drop the mic.
Yeah, drop the mic.
But he come with it every week. I like when brother Carlos calls in. He always segue into some facts that I have.
Yeah.
Already.
Okay.
So he said that you can't put a value on what our ancestors actually already did, right? And so, which is true, you can't.
Right.
You can't put a price on it. But the government has tried. Right. And so they're saying $10 to $12 trillion in reparations.
Yeah, we need that. And
each individual black person would get, I think, if not, you know, mistaken, the quote was 380,000.
Yeah,
per black person.
Okay.
Here in the United States,
we need that.
And then, of course, I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but you know what I'm saying, you do have a couple. You have the south side of Chicago, the south of Chicago. I'd ask you about, because I know you're from up in that area. They've already started the reparations.
I don't know. I know Asheville, North Carolina have started giving out a couple of dollars here and there.
But but Illinois, it's
Mhm.
a city in Illinois. And I asked you earlier, and I
Mhm.
can't remember the name of the city.
I ain't heard nobody call my line talking about they got.
It eludes me.
Ain't
But
nobody went on Instagram. You
but-
know somebody's really getting some money. Somebody went on.
but as of January, they have already started
Okay.
doing reparations. California has actually put together a task force team to study
Right.
reparations and how much and all that good stuff
Mhm.
out in California. And then of course there's a group called I call them NARC, NAA,
Mm-hmm.
RC.
Mm-hmm.
They actually are doing a study.
Okay.
And it's fully commissioned and all this other stuff. They're actually doing a study at this point as far as reparations here in America as a whole.
Right.
And so they've already put together a museum, because I've always wondered why, you have a Holocaust museum, and you have all these different, you got a Haitian museum, you got a Holocaust museum, you got all these different museums, but there's no slavery museum. You know what I'm saying? There's no, there's no African American slavery museum. I know they just did something they did a piece of art or something like that in Alabama.
Right.
But it's not to the extent of what they're trying to do with the NARC in NAA.
Okay.
RC is doing. So I just wanted to throw those little pieces of statue at you.
Yeah. No, that's facts. I just want to say real quick that we must understand something. Slavery was not that long ago. I want to touch back on that real quick, because a lot of people say, well, that's that happened years ago. Y'all can go to school now. Y'all can get y'all. Let me let y'all understand how this impacted our communities, right? So my grandmother, all right, my grandmother escaped from Arkansas because she was forced to work in the fields, and she was picking corn and picking cotton and okra and all these old different type of things. And she was making, I think she told me she was making like a dollar a week or something like that, something crazy, right? And she would give that to her parents to help out, on coal, because at that time they ain't had no, no heaters and that, so coal and gasoline and all these different things, right? So she vividly, I remember her telling me that she got some dresses, she got her some stockings, right? And she pretty much ran away and jumped on the back of a bus and made it to, I think she said she jumped on the back of a truck and she made it to like Tennessee or something like that. And then she had a couple of dollars, and then she took a bus to the Midwest, and then she started from nothing. You know what I mean? She joined Eastern Stars, which was an underground, Masonic type order for the women.
Right.
And then they kind of helped her get on her feet, and she became a nurse, and she was the first black nurse in a pediatric unit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I say that to say, so definitely her mother, my grandma's mother, was a slave, was enslaved. We talking about, my grandma, I think she was born in 1920 something. So we talking about her mother was in the 1800s.
She might have been born in slavery, but she probably wasn't a slave by the time she got what she got.
I mean,
I know your grandmother's grandmother was, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But my grandmother's mother was, while she was young, I'm pretty sure she was doing some slavery work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She was tilling some fields.
You know what I mean? She probably had just got her freedom, or maybe she was born into freedom. You feel what I'm saying? But she was there. And my grandmother's grandmother was most definitely a slave. You know what I mean? So let's look at that. That's not that far away.
Right.
So if you look at the average white person, their grandfather's grandfather or their grandmother's grandmother, well, let's say grandfather's grandfather was a slave owner. They had slaves if they wasn't an immigrant.
I feel you. I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if they didn't land in New York and start in New York on something, if they came from the South,
slaves in New York too.
but it wasn't known for, because New York didn't really get the bustling.
New York City was.
Yeah, it didn't
But
really.
North New York.
I'm sure it did. It had some, but that wasn't really
countryside New York. It was slaves all up and through. That's why you think, of course, like Andrew Jackson and all those guys, they stayed in, in upper New York.
Upscale slaves. These ain't down south slaves. These ain't get in the backyard and whip you.
Slave is a slave.
These like some, you know what I mean? This is different type of slavery, man.
The slave is a slave.
This but,
working, but you might not have been picking no cotton. And
no, you ain't picking no cotton. You building a building or something, or you know what I'm saying, laying down some
railroad. Slave is a slave.
Slave is a slave, but it's a different type of slaves though. You got the ones that was in Alabama and South Carolina that was getting beaten.
I'd rather be in that. I'd rather be. Well, I guess I hear what you're saying.
And then
because if I was a slave, I would much rather be in one of the colder areas.
You're gonna be in the north.
Right.
You're gonna get with Harriet Tubman and them. You're gonna get on the Underground Railroad.
I want to be outside doing what I gotta do in freezing Fred.
But you got access to education. You can make, it was some cold inventors and some, we can go on the list of real cold.
And I'm glad you made that comment, because you just brought back the thought, because it was something I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah.
So again, back to one of the reasons why they owe us is because a lot of the inventions were ours. Like the slaves literally made the stuff and had to pay, but they were property. So they couldn't put their name on stuff.
How about
and they couldn't get the patent.
How about, for instance, you from around in that area, but I used to live in Fort Myers. Right. Okay. So I used to be, I used to take my time and hang out on the Thomas Edison plantation, basically.
Okay.
Where he did a lot of his inventions.
Mm-hmm.
One of his best inventors that still don't get a lot of credit was a black dude.
Well, most of your slaves were again, most of the things that we as Americans give credit to the white people for. It was the slave, but it was the slave who created it. But it was the slave owner who who knew how to read and write.
Yeah.
Who had the leverage to get the patent for it, and so he got the credit for it because he got the patent. Although the invention belonged,
exactly,
belonged to the slave.
So just let's think. I mean, you got a black man that found out how to make it easier to sort the cotton out.
Cotton gin, correct? Yeah.
You know what I mean? He thinking, he like, man, we working too hard. Let me think, bop.
Hey.
Oh my God.
I don't blame him, because I say on a consistent daily basis, work smarter, not harder.
Let's whip this nigga. He's too smart. Anyway, I'm just saying, he get no.
I am not a manual labor kind of dude.
But just think if we kept that 400,000 acres. And was able to matriculate and rotate throughout our communities.
Yeah, man. I just look at it from a perspective of these different communities that I was talking about. So had we were able to keep these communities, right? Not to, let's take Tulsa, which was the Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
Let's take that out of the equation. Right, because we already know what Tulsa was,
right,
or what it meant, right. And so let's take the city or the community in Wilmington, North Carolina. Let's take the community that was in New York, where Central Park is. Let's take even where Lake Lanier is. Let's take these communities. And first of all, I don't know if you've ever been to Atlanta. A lot of listeners, I don't know if you've ever been to Atlanta and have literally been to Lake Lanier. That's a huge fucking lake. You know what I'm saying? And just imagine, it's a whole doggone city underneath that lake. So just imagine how huge this community was. How it's literally a city.
Right.
So you got a whole city underneath this water. Right. Imagine if we kept that to ourselves and especially looking at how Atlanta is now. So you're talking another community outside of Atlanta. Tyler Perry could have a whole, could have had a studio long before he got the studio he had now. You know what I'm saying? The music, music went from Detroit to Atlanta.
Right.
And so imagine how big of a music hub Atlanta could be had that city not been flooded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just think about all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, you know, going back to what we said beginning, you know what I'm saying, earlier, every time we do something for ourselves, you know, I think it's to a point to where they want us to need them.
That's what it's always been from the beginning.
They want us to need them.
They brung us here knowing that we would need them.
So, and anytime we got some type of independence, or anytime we showed them, okay, well, you know, yeah, we help you build whatever the case is, so we can build our own over here too, and we can make it more fast, we can make it more innovative, we can make it do, you know, whatever the case is. They're like, well, screw that shit. Tear that shit.
Tear it down, cut it out, knock it off.
You know what I'm saying?
Or we taking it.
They be in there joking
we
like,
lock y'all up.
Remember that video with Snoop and the dog pound when they was knocking over buildings and stuff? That's exactly how it is.
And I just want to let the viewers know we're not trying to be racist. This is not a racist rant. We're just telling the truth on why our community is so poor. A lot of us is living in poverty. If you ain't making over a certain amount of money a year, let me tell you something. A lot of y'all not even making over $18,000 per year.
Well, the medium is $46,000 a year,
but the poverty level is $18,000 per year.
Right.
So a lot of people not even making $18,000. I ain't even make $18,000 last year.
Really?
Hey, I got a good accounting. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, what we're trying to get to is we're trying to help you understand why this is old. Because a lot of people be like, what? Why they owe us anything? They owe us this money. Let's look at the Indians. Man, the Indians, they let them get casinos. They gave them land. They gave the casinos land. They gave the Indians land to build casinos. Okay?
Tax free.
They gave, and I don't know how you can give somebody their own stuff, but anyway, they that's another story. They gave them the land, right? They gave them money. And these folks get checks, like crazy checks. I'm talking, man, the one lady told me she gets $7,000. I think it's like every 6 months for each kid. She got like 7 kids.
Well, I probably need to go get my bloodline checked too.
So probably do. So you look like you got some Indian in you.
Yeah, on both sides.
Out there from Charleston.
I got some Indian in my family. But back to what you were saying in reference to giving them the land back. Yeah, they got the land back, and yeah, they can build casinos and stuff on the land. However, if you've been here for some months, and so this Seminole Hard Rock Cafe that we got out here, even though that's Indian land, them folks still trying to regulate what they can do on their own land.
Yeah, and then I'm glad you said that, because then I found out that this is how slick the United States is and some of these Caucasian people. So what they did is, especially in the West, and I'm speaking of Four Corners, Nevada, Utah, Oklahoma, I think, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado. Right? Okay. So this is where they did a lot of the testing for the nuclear bombs. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so when we talking in the 1930s, 1940s.
Hiroshima was in the early, like the 20s, 30s.
This is when they, this is early. These folks creating nuclear bombs early, testing them out. And in the West, it was a lot of Indians, right? So what they did is, when they buried the nuclear waste, they would give that land to the Indians. Give that land to the natives. So y'all can have this for y'all reservations. So a lot of land that the natives are sitting on is contaminated.
It's contaminated, right?
You feel me? But, we probably would have took some contaminated land too.
Well,
I hate to say that like that,
but a lot of the land that we do have, a lot of where we live is old landfills.
But it ain't ours.
If you're buying a house, whether right. you're paying a mortgage on it or not, right? A lot of land that is in the rural urban communities is old landfills.
Right.
It's old garbage landfill.
Yeah, golf courses, all type of stuff. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So all of that land is contaminated too.
That's facts. So the question would go to ask is, Well, why do the government owe y'all millions? No, I don't think we still didn't answer that question. Why they owe us millions? Well,
10 to 12 trillion.
Let's look at it. So if we take, let's go back to the beginning. If we take I'm just talking about the 40 acres, the 400,000 acres. Let's look at the cost of how that would have matriculated into this time, be it if we still had that. Because you could have bought some more land off of that. You could have, your revenue was about to go up. They only had the land for a little bit of time.
Right. And then, of course, value of land goes up, it appreciates.
You feel me?
Depreciates, right. Okay.
But we talk about land that's tillable on the coast, that you could have made some good cotton out of. We talking about, refugee places for slaves. We talking about too much different stuff that would have put us in power. Now you talking about doing trade with the North for cotton, and then you spread that wealth among the black community of that time. And guess what? Now you got an ecosystem. And we actually ran that part too. It was governed and everything by black people. You see what I'm saying? So we must understand how much of an economic disadvantage we had from the beginning, right?
Right.
So then, as time go on, we start to develop sense. We start to get educated and things like that. And all the odds were stacked against us. Now we're getting into the civil rights era. Now we're getting to the part to where you're trying to get an education, where the families were together, where you're trying to, get some good jobs. And that's where your Oklahomas come. That's where your North Carolinas come. That's where your New York and stuff come. That's where these different places come, where folks is getting their act together. They don't want to be in slavery. Get your education. Get on yours. You understand me? Get it together.
What you want them to get their master's degree?
You dig?
So they can take their own mind out and put the master's mind inside. But we're not gonna go there.
We can't do that.
We can't do that.
We can't do that. So, I'm gonna go somewhere else with this here. I'm gonna go somewhere else because y'all need to know what's really going on right now. So now, we're gonna fast forward a little bit because they already, they built America off of slavery, period, point blank. One white folk wasn't doing, they was telling you what to do. They wasn't hammering no railroads. They wasn't doing none of that. That was black people that did that. We laid the streets. I was talking to a brother here that's been in Miami for over 60 years. That brother is 84 years old. That brother came to me yesterday and he dropped some science on me. He was like, there was actually a law where if you was on the streets, and we talking 1950s, where you was on the streets, you had to have $1 in your pocket. If you didn't have $1 in your pocket, you could be arrested as a black man.
And here in Miami,
when you was arrested as a black man, they utilized you for a week because you had to stay in jail for a week. And while you was in jail, they would bring you out and have you build the roads and have you chop down trees downtown Miami. And that's who created the downtown Miami. Was black people. Wasn't no Cubans here. It wasn't no, they probably was here, but it wasn't no big Cuban population. It wasn't no big Puerto Rican population. It was black folks and white folks.
Well, Miami was pretty much, I don't know if it used to be. I don't know if it's still there. It was a special on Netflix about the origin of Miami.
Yeah.
And the Bahamians.
Yeah.
And the Jamaicans and they brought blacks in,
right,
to build Miami.
Black folks built downtown Miami.
Well, just Miami, period.
Yeah.
So, and it's called Overtown,
right?
Because it was the north side of town, and that was the only side of town that blacks was allowed at that time to live in. And so so that's why it's called Overtown.
Right. So if you didn't have that dollar in your pocket, you had to work on these streets. You know what I mean? So why do you say that? I'm saying that because you have to understand the strategies that's been put forward and made. That was free labor. That's what he was saying. Like, they utilized free labor to build Miami. That was a strategy.
Right.
It wasn't no jobs like that. Not down here.
Well, Miami is a fairly new city.
Right.
It's one of the newer metropolis cities in America. And so you got to think about when the honeymooners, Jackie Gleason and they had the you see the movies, the Kitty Cat Club, and the all of when Motown was coming down, all that, and it was predominantly white. That's what all of that stuff was in the 40s and 50s.
Right.
Miami was a fairly brand new city at that time. It was like still being built.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When Ali and who was that? Ali came down here and beat Sonny Liston. In the what was that? The 70s, 60s, and 70s. And so when Ali came down here and beat Sonny Liston, you got to think it was a brand new city. So all of that was bringing money to Miami.
Right.
It was bringing notoriety to Miami.
Right.
And that's what that. So Ali enlisted, and Jackie Gleason, and Sinatra,
yeah,
and all those guys,
yeah,
they literally built Miami. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think, Miami Beach, a black person couldn't even go on Miami Beach.
Didn't even go on it. That's crazy. Y'all need to hear what we saying. This is the truth. Call in if you feel some type of way.
So, but I'm kind of, I grew up in the South.
Okay.
Pensacola, Florida, to be exact.
Facts.
And so my mother's side of the family, my grandmother was raised in Birmingham, Alabama. And so my grandmother, who's 80 plus years old, you got to think she grew up in the white only water fountains, and all that kind of stuff. And she's fair skinned. So not only did she catch it from the white folks, but she caught it from the darker skinned black folks too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm even the bus boycott in Montgomery. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff was taking place when she was just a teenager, in her early adulthood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm more infatuated, sort of say, about that era. Right. Because of that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know somebody who was in that era. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I grew up, like I said, I literally was born in Tulsa, and don't ask me how the hell my mom and my daddy ended up in Tulsa. But they did. And I literally grew up I was raised right there in Greenwood. You know what I'm saying? And so, but anyway, that's going down a whole nother road. But I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just infatuated with that, with the pre, era. Right. You know what I'm saying? The pre,
civil rights.
Well, the pre-civil rights and the wait, I'm having a brain fart right now. Please excuse me. But when they integration.
Okay.
The pre-integration era.
Cool. Go ahead. Oh, you got it out. But okay, so I'm gonna go somewhere else with this. I want to let y'all know because America was built off slave labor, and they're gonna continue the new futuristic slave labor. What they have planned, guess what? They gonna build it off the backs of y'all. Y'all gonna get y'all mind right, and I'm gonna tell you what right now. 2020. They had a plan set up. They knew that they need to start. They need to regenerate. They need to catch up with China. They need to catch up with Russia. They need to catch up with all these emerging economies. How can you do that, Mr. Flowers?
Well,
let me tell you real quick.
Okay.
So what you got to do is you got to go back to the plan, and they go back down to South Carolina, and they go back down to Savannah, Georgia, and they sit in them old houses, and they think about this type of stuff right here. Well, how can we get this nation going in the right direction? Because we outsourcing all our talent, all our technology, everything out there to cheaper labor in China, where they getting, $3 an hour or something crazy like that. But we need to bring that back to America. Okay, so how can we do that? Well, one thing, we have to get those niggers locked up. We have to get those black folks locked back up. And when they get locked up, guess what? They working for 50 cents an hour. But now it's on a high-tech level, because you got brothers in prisons that's putting together Apple phones, computers. They doing microchip work and everything. So I want you to pay close attention to what I'm just going to say. So they went ahead and they put together the stimulus and the PPP. Now, you know that these folks was going, when you say it's a self-authenticating application, that means it's free money, because basically all you saying is sign up and tell us what you do and how much you make, and we're gonna send y'all that money.
Right.
And they did that. They sent that money out. Folk were lying. Folk got banks and giving other folks money, all type of crazy stuff, right? They put that money out there because they got a plan. They like, we gonna make us some new slaves, right? Donald Trump told us that before Biden got in there. He was like, man, they gonna make y'all slaves again. He said that. And at first I was like, man, this dude is crazy. But then I think about it more and more. I'll be like, oh, he know, because he behind the scenes. He know. So check this out. So now everybody got that money. Everybody scammed and they think they good, right? They think they good. They letting all these Mexicans in with no papers. They sending them to all these different states. They ain't got no paperwork. They ain't got nothing. Remember now, keep in mind that the Democrats, they took the land back from they first of all, they passed the Slavery Act, reenacted the Slavery Act in 18 something, and they also took all that land away from them black folks and gave it back to the slave owners. Now, where's you going with this, James Mack?
Yeah, where you going with this?
Right. What they gonna do now? So he just passed 2 bills. He passed a microchip bill to bring more technology and to try to give all this money to emerging companies that is creating microchips to try to solve that problem. And he also passed that PPP investigation bill, where now they extended the statute of limitations up to 10 years. So now they got 10 years to come and get y'all behind.
So if you took that money, you
think it's over, but it ain't over. And they some people getting slapped on the hand. You know what color they is. Ooh, you got 3 million, you getting a year. Get out of here. I know somebody that got like 5,000 and they got 3 years. 3 years. And guess what they finna go do? They finna go to school and get a trade. They finna be in there welding something for somebody. They finna be in there cutting down trees, making wood. They finna be in there doing all type of crazy stuff. And they gonna be happy to do it because they get out, they get to smell some fresh air all this year. But guess what? They getting paid $1 an hour. And you think, oh, I'm in here making microchips right now. That's sweet, right? You doing something with your life. You a slave, and you got tricked into being a slave again, right? So it's happening right before our eyes, people. You better wake up. They got the slavery bill set. They already know what they're gonna do. They're getting ready to pass the Build Back Better plan. They already know how they finna set their people up. While they telling you that it's about to be a recession, they telling their kids to invest in Bitcoin, all this here. Get back in position. Get in position, you guys. All right, we need to get in position. We need to invest right now. The stock market is low, and put your money in there. But for y'all going to jail. Y'all gonna be on the chain gang. Y'all gonna be making the roads and the bridges and all this here coming up because they passed the infrastructure plan as well.
Right.
Who you think gonna do all that work? You think they're gonna be paying top dollar for y'all to do that work? Why you think they busting in the Mexicans? Shipping them, dropping them in Chicago, dropping them in DC, dropping them in Miami, dropping them in Wisconsin. Why you think they doing that?
And they ain't sending them Haitians back that's coming in here either.
They sending them to camps. They gonna be slaves. The Mexicans getting stipends. They getting houses. They getting everything. Who is that affecting? It's affecting you in your community. Because when you go to the emergency room, it's full of Mexican people. When you go to the free clinic, it's full of Mexican people.
Well, I ain't been in no free clinic in a long time.
I went to the free clinic. I seen it. I'm a business owner, so I gotta find other ways to get my you know what I'm saying, my blood work. So I went there, I see it.
I go to the VA. So
you know what I'm saying? When you go to the SSI building, there's Mexican people in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you go, you got to understand what's happening. They're changing the dynamic slowly. So it's a reason why they're busting these people in. Because these are the people they're going to hire to make the new bridges, make all this new stuff for the flying cars, make all this new stuff for the new electric trains in all these different cities, make all this stuff for the wireless networks. These are who going to be building this. While y'all in prison making microchips, while y'all in prison making all type of electronics.
So it's really, I saw this, and I think I said this to you a little while ago, but it's not the Great Recession that we had back in the 30s and 40s. It's the Great Reset.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And so that's really taking place, and so it's and of course it's everything that you said is taking place from the slavery standpoint. And I remember when I was getting out the military, and then of course some years later they started closing down all these different bases, and I started asking questions. I'm very inquisitive, so I started asking questions about what are they going to do with all these barracks that's on all these bases, and what are they going to do with all of these underground bomb barriers and stuff that they have on all these bases. And so, hindsight 2020, these are the camps that they're going to start putting people in.
Oh, facts. It's not a game, because if you remember, prior to 2019, we talking about 2016, it was a lot of chatter about why are they at all these FEMA trains, and why do they have all these caskets stacked up, these little plastic caskets stacked up? Why is all this stuff stacked up? Guess what? They already knew.
Well, what I started to say before, but I let you carry on because of your, what you had to say was extremely important. This whole COVID stuff and the Great Reset was initially, from what I've heard and from what I've read, this was supposed to take place earlier. But remember H1N1?
Sure.
So H1N1 was supposed to do what COVID eventually did.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a person in there that was a lot more wiser than the previous guy.
Yeah.
And so he kind of him and Biden together, as well as I can't remember what her name is, but they actually put together a plan to get rid of H1N1. Right. But the Great Reset was supposed to take place in the earlier 2000, like 2012, 2014, I think, when H1N1 started coming around. So that's when everything was supposed to really take place.
Right.
But whether I don't know what your I don't care what your Republican or Democrat or whatever the case is. All I'm saying is that's from what I've heard and from what I've studied. That's what it was supposed to take place way back then.
Well, and you're right, and we have to pay attention to these small things. And when it comes to the Republican and the Democrat, the Republican, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not gonna say where I stand with it. But one thing I want to let you know is that don't be fooled, because the person that's running the country right now was against you in the first place. People, you better look back into the history, right? Who came up with the crime bill? Who helped your daddy and your granddaddy go to jail?
Biden.
Who set up all these little laws and all these little things? That man been in office for the longest. The crack bill. They had him on the Instagram talking about if you get caught with this much crack, less than a quarter, that you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna lose all your stuff. It's a mandatory 5-year sentence. You're gonna lose everything. They're gonna seize all your money and everything. They got him saying that. That's his laws. But guess what? Guess who son is did a video smoking all this here. Nothing happens to him though. See, you got to understand how they protect their own. But we are in a situation where it's real technical what's going on now, because the enemy is among us, and you don't know the same people that you're voting for is really like I hate to say
it's the lesser of the evils.
What that mean, brother?
Because either way it goes, you're gonna whoever it is, it's not the right part. You know what I'm saying?
Either way it goes, it's a grand scheme. It's a grand scheme.
Whoever it is he's the pawn. He or she is a pawn.
But it's in different ways, it's a little bit more resistance at times. Like you got Donald Trump, and I'm not a Trump fan, but he is resistance. They can't really control him.
He was a puppet.
They can't control him. He a puppet that couldn't really be controlled.
That was his job.
So that's why you see now they trying to hurry up and get him out of there, because he gonna tell you some of the truth. I ain't gonna lie, that brother is gonna tell you some truth. And when he told us how
everybody tell you some truth.
No, everybody don't tell you no truth. Biden ain't tell you no truth.
He tell you something every now and
What truth he told you, brother?
He give you a little nugget. He give you a little nugget every now and then.
What nugget he gave?
But go ahead.
I know. I know. He ain't gave you no nugget.
He give you a little.
He reading off the paper.
He
gave you a nugget about 10 years ago. and tell you how you about to go to jail. And if you get caught with it, you know what's gonna happen to you.
Either way it goes. So,
but going back to
I'm apolitical.
I feel you on that. I'm gonna claim that too. But getting back to the topic at hand, why they owe us these millions. Because you can be like, oh man, they on there just going off talking, and we don't understand why they owe this. They owe these millions because of generational wealth. Because a lot of their families, a lot of their grandfathers was able to pass down those companies, was able to pass down that wealth. I know people that got land in South Carolina, they don't even care about the land. I know people in North Carolina that owe a whole strip of industrial buildings right now. I was trying to rent one.
Listen, man, I remember I literally sold a car when I was in Charlotte to one of the Belks, right? And literally had to deliver the car to the Belks estate, right? This estate is freaking huge and immaculate. I mean, I'm driving up to this thing like, man, and it's way out in the country. Like, it's in the middle of nowhere, basically, but it's huge. It is illustrious, and it's like you drive up to it and you're like, wow. So the Belks cotton, for those of you guys don't know where the Belks get their money from, they got it from the cotton, from selling cotton. So I'm saying these names. So you're talking the Belks, you're talking about these people like the Chase, that what I'm saying, the bank. Most of these banks, most of these the Belks, most of these what's the Sears and Row, all these people that
family names.
These family names, these family names got most of their, if not all, but most of their income and wealth off the backs of us and our ancestors.
Yeah, but let me give you another one though, right? Because this brother was they said he was had a little black in him, right? But he was so radical, of course, with giving the slaves, that General let me get my names right. Giving General Sherman, I was about to say that, giving General Sherman that okay to go ahead and get them slaves that land, and then doing some slave acts. Lincoln, I found out they were so against and so upset with this brother. Not only did they smoke him and get him out of there, but they also banned anybody from taking his last name.
There's a lot of Lincolns.
Where? When the last time somebody said, my name is Lincoln? Now, I do know a lady, her last name is Lincoln. I was like, how your last name get Lincoln? She was like, it's a long story. But she is related to the Lincolns. Man, you ain't tell me. Put something in the comment if you know somebody with the last name Lincoln.
I went to a concert at that theater and he got shot at.
That's
assassinated.
That's where?
It's in DC.
Wow.
But I've actually gone. Matter of fact, I went to a Valentine's Day extravaganza.
Yeah.
At that theater.
Where he got popped.
And I literally sat like diagonal from the booth that he, said, from the area that he was at. But yeah, beautiful theater, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. They got him out of there, and you never heard of none of the Lincolns and everything. And then they put his name, because he was rallying. He was an abolitionist to a certain extent, but he said he was black. They put his name on a penny. They put his face on the penny, the most worthless piece of money that it is. They did this.
Copper.
They did this.
Was it because he was he mulatto?
He was a little mulatto. That's what it said. They say he really was a brother undercover.
I thought they said he was a vampire slayer.
I don't know about all that. But that brother was put on the most worthless piece of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? They could have put him on the 100. They could have put him on the 50. Oh, they put him on the penny. Brother, get out of here. You throw pennies away. You own a penny. What you gonna do with that? You can do something with a dime or a nickel. So
yeah, because things don't cost 99 cents no more. So you really can't,
And when it did, you was like, man, I ain't got it. I don't got the rest of the time. So we have to be more smart about what we're doing, y'all. We have to understand that this is a plan that's being put together once again. And if we don't wake up right now, they're gonna have new slaves. Slavery is real, and you think it's not happening, but they got so many brothers, over 1 million, almost close to 2 million brothers in the penitentiary. I think it's like it went from 1 of 3 to 2 of 3 or something like that. Like 2 out of 3. I want to say 2 out of 3 brothers is in the penitentiary. 2 out of 3, or it might be 2 out of 4. It's one of them two.
It's close. It's close.
It's a crazy number right now because it keeps changing. Look at the cycle. That's why they don't want to do nothing about Chicago. They like, okay, no, let that do what it do. They can easily find a way to try to mitigate that, and a lot of that is people ain't got no jobs and ain't got no bread, right? So they, and then a lot of, they put the drugs in there. They setting that up. That's what they call a self-cleaning oven. Let that clean itself up. We ain't worried about that right now. Wherever it's crime and people getting killed at, especially in the black community, we not worried about that. But you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that in certain environments. They're not allowing that to happen.
Well, first of all, let me say this, because I have to say this because it's on my heart to say. So, 400 years, if you really want to think about it, because I've been hearing 400 years since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right? And so, if you really do the math, 400 years would have been 2019.
Right.
So, we've literally been enslaved.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Ooh.
Because a lot of us aren't free thinkers.
Right.
And we still have a slavery mentality.
Facts.
And so, which is why, the crab in the barrel mentality.
Yeah, Willie Lynch.
Like my man, Carlos, I think the caller. Carlos, the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can we as a people come together and rise up if we're always in competition?
Right.
But we've been taught competition since slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never gotten rid of the competition. Now I heard my boy Kevin Hart on his Heart to Heart series talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
If you succeed, if you succeed, I praise you. I want you to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
If you need, if you need me for whatever the case is, what you need, or whatever the case is, it shouldn't be a competition. It shouldn't be a resentment. It shouldn't be competition. It should be, oh, that's my brother. He needs to do X, Y, Z, and we can get more together done. That we can get more done together than we can get done separately.
Right.
Now, of course, you got your lane. I got my lane.
Mm-hmm.
But things like this, if we come together,
right,
and teach, talk, and do things together, then of course it does more good for the culture. Yeah. Than if I was to do my thing, you do your thing, and then we're just competing right against each other and we're doing the same thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it comes to a point to where we got to get rid of the competition. Right. We got to get rid of the crab in the barrel mentality. We got to start, looking at trying to do things productively together.
That's why we need reparations, brother, because it ain't gonna be none of that when you have to worry about your income.
But what if we get rid? Well, see, again, if our minds don't change,
your mind will change over time.
No. If what good does it do me, right? To give me X, Y, Z hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. If I'm programmed to give it right back to whoever it is. But
that's the problem also, is we don't know, because it's all programming, right? It's all a test. It's all everything that's going on right now is a test run, right? These phones right here are test runs. They running tests. They seeing how it affects you mentally, how it affects you. Right. One thing I could tell you is putting more money into the black community will be a positive effect.
I don't dispute that it'll have some positivity, but what I can say, and what I am trying to say, is you empty XYZ amount of money inside the black community at a time where the black community is one of the
I'm listening to you.
At a time where the black community is one of the most we spend the most money.
We do. I want you to hold that thought for one second. We got the brother Carlos call back in, and we need to hear this. Brother Carlos, give us some news we can use.
All right. I hear you guys talking about being on one accord in the competition. And I wanted to say this: everybody's not going to be everybody's not going to be down for the cause. You know, just like the movie 300. As long as we have a strong 300, you know, that's down for the cause, we're in. You know, because everyone that received the reparations, they're going to do their own thing. And a lot of people, you know, even in the Black community, don't care about what's, you know, the situation that we're in, you know. But they're going to do their own thing. But as long as we have, like the movie 300, we have that strong 300, we're good, man. We're good. And also, we need cash payments, you know. We need cash payments, direct payments monthly. If they want to include education, they can include education. They can include loans. They can include housing vouchers. But we need cash payments, direct payments with this, you know, because, you know, we don't want to be, you know, it to be like the last, you know, like they said, hey, we want, you know, we're going to give us 40 acres in a mule. We need cash payments direct.
Right.
All right, you know, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I just had to chime in. I had to chime in because I know that you guys was talking about, you know, everybody's not, you know, what everybody's going to do, and, you know, everybody's not going to be down for the cause.
I got you.
Right.
Okay,
Appreciate
brother.
the call, man. So I have to go into this.
You got it.
Cash payments, right?
You got it. Come on.
All right. So the number is 10 to 12 trillion dollars, right? That's the number that I got from Uncle Sam. And then out of that 10 to 12 trillion dollars, each Black person gets, if I'm not mistaken, the number was $360,000.
Okay, that sounds
per
about right
person,
to me. That
right?
sounds about right.
A Bentley costs a low end Bentley, just a regular Bentley, costs $250,000.
Okay,
right? Depending on where you're living,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, you know, everybody gonna want to get a car, and everybody gonna want to get a house, buy their mama house, or whatever the case is. And so, a typical 3 to 4 bedroom house, right, with a nice yard in Atlanta, and you know, let's say Fort Lauderdale. Let's say you go out to California, they're way more expensive. You go to New York, they're way more expensive. Let's even say Austin, which is a up and coming city in Texas, right? So you buy a 4-bedroom house with a nice yard, nice decent yard somewhere in those nice, you know, rural areas. You're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of right around about $300,000,
okay,
or more, right? You only got 360.
Okay.
So again, what I'm saying is the mindset, because we as a people haven't been taught to invest. We haven't been taught to ownership. We haven't been taught.
But we have. I'm gonna tell you why. Because of this right here. This right here is educating people at a faster rate than ever in the history of man. So you can't tell me that somebody gets some money that they not, the infatuated to having money and going to spend it and do something with it. Yeah, you probably do some dumb stuff. You know, you probably do something. But if somebody go and spend a 360 on a house, that's not necessarily that dumb, because now they got equity and they have some collateral. So that's really a smart, and they got somewhere to live. Now they got something to pass down to their kids, and they got some land.
Okay. So that's the house. So what happens if somebody goes and buy that $250,000 Bentley?
We gonna find them. We gonna find them now if they buy the 250 Bentley and
that's just the base.
And put it in the business name, then they can write the purchase off and utilize it for something else. But we coming to find you if you pay for the Bentley with the reparations. We gonna find you. We gonna find you. I ain't gonna tell you what we're gonna do to you, but we gonna find you. Because it got to be some accountability for that.
But that's what I'm saying. We as a culture, we need to have conversations to where people know how to go and get an LLC, or go get an Inc., go get, you know what I'm saying, a soul prop.
Yeah, but
whatever the case is.
I do feel like we're getting back to that consciousness, and that's why they got to break it up now, because they see we are getting back to that consciousness, because information is spread so far and so fast right now that people are waking up a little bit. You got Invest Fest that just happened in Atlanta with all these people that's investing, all these black folks. You got, you know, things happening down here in Miami. You got things happening in North Carolina. You got people around that's waking up, right? But you know, they don't have no money, right?
The woke culture.
Yeah, but people is a lot more woke than we think, right? You know, but you put the money in their hands, it's only so much stuff you're gonna be able to buy. You're gonna invest something either. But if they investing in the slave corporations like the Tommy Hilfigers, these are people that was Nazis back in the day, the Hugo Boss. These are people who helped Nazis with their clothing. They made clothing for Nazis. The Hilfigers, the Hugo Boss, Gucci, the Louis Vuitton. They made luggage for the Nazis and stuff like that. They were racist. Black people didn't have no Louis Vuittons back in the day. You couldn't even afford that. You know, and you was looked upon and shone down if you had that. So why are we wearing that now? Well, we know why. But if you do that and you spend your money on that, then we're gonna find you. We're gonna find you. That's all I gotta say. We're gonna find you.
So that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is we need to change the mentality first.
But the white people ain't changing their mentality.
But the white people haven't been generationally brought up and raised in the things that we have.
That's what I'm saying. So they not gonna think like that.
There's a lot of Uncle Bubbles out there, and you know who the Uncle Bubble is. The Uncle Bubble is the one that's telling you, you know, don't do that because he can't do it. You know what I'm saying? The one that's laying on your mama couch, telling you, oh boy, you know, XYZ. You know what I'm saying? The Uncle Bubble. So there's a lot of Uncle Bubbles out there. And then there's a lot, like I talked to a young lady today who had a business, and I'm sitting there trying to tell her, hey, listen, a smart business person does not use his own money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because
you got to, cause I mean, I ain't smart then, cause I so.
But the more successful.
If you have
the more successful individuals,
if you have access to capital.
Again, let me finish the statement. Okay. So the more successful individuals, you know, your billionaires, your trillionaires, and so forth, they're not using their own monies to build their business. They're using other people's capital. You understand what I'm saying? And so, yes, if I'm sitting here providing you with capital, I'm calling you. I'm sitting here because you've requested, so I'm calling you, asking you, hey, how much do you need? And yes, there's a process of how much I can literally give you based on what your business is, you know, producing on a monthly basis, right? But if I'm sitting here calling you, telling you, hey, I'm finna give you some capital, why would you sit here and refuse it? Why would you do that?
I mean, it's a lot to go.
It's a mindset.
You know, as an entrepreneur, I would have to double think that too, like, because you know, you just don't want to be taking money from anywhere.
No, but if it's a reputable,
if it's reputable, still,
you know what I'm saying. And so, if it's a reputable establishment that's calling you to say, hey, listen, you know, XYZ, right? You know, because if you went to, I tell people this all the time, and again, I'm not trying to, you know, my thing is, you got to check your mindset, because your mindset, I don't give a doggone if I give you $100 million. If your mindset ain't right, you just gonna squander that $100 million.
I feel you on that, but we still need it anyway. And I don't care what you do with it. Because
if your mindset ain't right, then the young lady you was talking to, she's absolutely right. You ain't gonna do nothing but give it away.
But I beg to differ. I plead with you that is more people that got their mind right, African Americans here in America, that don't got their mind right. We not just, you know, we gonna have some type of, you know, they're gonna have some structure behind it, believe me, where it's a situation where you can't buy this, you can't buy that, you can't buy this.
Well, how you gonna get somebody some money to put stipulations on the money that they
Man,
get?
they always been doing that. They gave us welfare. They put some stipulations on that. They gave us all this PPP money. They put stipulations on that.
Well, all I'm saying is, listen, if you're gonna give me the money, right, and it's money that is because I'm
money that's owed to you
because I'm a descendant of a slave.
Yeah.
Right. Then how are you gonna tell me what I can and can't do?
It's always
what you gonna tell me I can't go get some J's because
go get you some J's. You need get do whatever your heart desire, but invest. But we need that money in our community.
Right. And I'm not disputing that with you. All I'm saying is, yeah, we do need the money.
We don't tell the Indians how to spend their money. The natives.
We do need the money in our community. So please don't get it twisted.
We don't tell the natives how to spend their money. When you go to the casino, you lose all your bread when you go to the casino. They don't offer you nothing when you walk out the door.
But correct me if I'm wrong though, right? Because I might be wrong. So please correct me if I'm wrong.
I can help you with that.
All the money that goes through the casino does not go to the natives.
No, they heavily tax. I'm sure some other ways that it go about, but the casinos is strategically placed in the poorest communities around the country. You don't see casinos in the rich areas. You see them in the poor areas. Except for your Vegas and your Atlantic cities. But when we're talking about your Biloxi's, when you're talking about your Atlantas, when you're talking about your Chicago's, outside of Chicago's, you're talking about, Gary, Indiana, when you're talking about Milwaukee, Wisconsin, these are places where it's centrally, strategically located in areas that is just ciphering money from the hood. Because the white people, they good. They don't have to go to the casinos.
Well, it's entertainment for them.
Yeah, it's
entertainment
exactly.
for them. It's more of a, I don't want to use the word necessity, but it's more of a what's called for
Detroit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I can go on and on, but here's the thing, outside of North Carolina right now.
But going to Biloxi though, I can say this because I'm from Pensacola, so Biloxi, But there is more of the other race that goes to the casino.
I can dig that. They call that the hillbilly. What they call it? The hillbilly.
Watch your mouth, man. You talking about my negative words.
Well, it's true. It's the hillbilly something. I think the hillbilly something. I forgot what.
I don't know. I've never heard that before. But go ahead. I'm listening.
We getting a little loose with the lips, but I'm just saying.
But it's all good though. You know what I'm saying. But it's a much needed conversation.
Yeah.
And again, coming from where I'm from, and then of course having the know-it-all of how and what from a financial standpoint. All I'm saying, I'm not saying, and please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we as a culture don't need our reparations. That's not what I'm saying. But matter of fact, Dave Chappelle made a parody about it on the Dave Chappelle show about the reparations and how black folks act when they got the money.
Yeah, it ain't funny though.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, we do need it. Yes, there's a lot of great that can come from it. All I'm saying is, if I get it and I spend it, then now, you know what I'm saying? Now the next person got to worry about, they got to watch their back even more because now I know you got some money.
That's hypothetical though. That's hypotheticals.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? That you can't really say what a race will do when they receive money like that. You just can't say that. We might change around and be, why they ain't giving it to us? Let's talk about that. Why they ain't giving it to us is because they know that it's a lot of us out here that got a head on our shoulders that would take that money and become billionaires.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't want to give it to us because they know we're going to buy up all the property. We're going to buy the land. We're going to really thrive. And that's not the goal. The goal is not for the African Americans to be thriving, especially the African American men. We don't want y'all to be thriving. The goal is for extinction of the African American people. That's why the brother Carlos said something that was cold. He said, we need to be a protected people. We do. We need to be classed as a protected people because when you're here in America, everybody hates black people. And I'm just saying that like it is.
Well, yeah. So, and I was thinking about this morning. I'm glad you said that. Because I saw a police officer pull somebody over, right? And I said to myself, why is it? Because I've never seen it. When a police officer pulls over a white person, You don't see 4 or 5 cars pull that one person over. But when a police officer pull a black person over, you see 4 or 5 cars come to the stop.
Negroes is kind of dangerous. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna just keep it real, especially down in Miami. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
never know what you're gonna
I don't
get.
care where you is in the United States.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
I've never seen, and I might be wrong, so please correct me if I am. I've never seen a Caucasian individual get pulled over. Say it's a white female, right? I've never seen a white female get pulled over, and you see 4 or 5 backup cars.
I hate to say it, but I have. It's been on the highway though. It's been on the E-way where they do that. They get them random white chicks. They be having them drugs in the car too. They be having them in the car. But on a consistent basis, no. But African Americans have become a lot more of a threat. Let's just be real, because there's people jumping out, giving the police the business. So I know some black police that I had a discussion with a while back that actually told me they was kind of afraid. When you get out and.
But why are you afraid though?
Because Negroes then lost their mind.
And then of course I'm an ex-soldier, right?
All right.
And so I also was in the midst of thinking about what I was thinking about all the people, the backup cars.
Right.
As a soldier that is protecting the country,
right,
in war or whatever, we're taught to de-escalate. Right. And so the first shot goes in the air. Second shot is a wound shot. Man,
come on now.
No. But again,
I hear you, but these guys jumping out with stuff that go.
And they're not overseas.
No.
Really?
No.
Really?
Well, let's go.
They got AKAs and all. You know what I'm saying?
Where?
Huh?
Where?
Dude, if you go to Afghanistan and go to Iraq or whatever the case is,
let's get away from let's get away from Afghanistan.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
And let's get away from Iraq. Tell me another country that got them things.
Israel.
Besides that, Israel, Afghanistan,
every country has an AK.
Tell me what other country got them pistols.
Got AKs?
Let's get away from that. What other country got them pistols?
Got 9mm
pistols in general, 38s, whatever, any type of pistol you want. What other country got them pistols?
Israel.
No, besides Israel, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Name me one country that they got them pistols.
Well, right now they got them over in doggone. Where they fighting that war at right now?
And we gave them the pistols.
We give everybody
they
pistols,
had pistols
and AKs and what's going on.
It ain't no other country that got them pistols like that.
That's a lie.
Where
I hate to say that.
What country?
Huh?
Guess what?
America provides arms to every country in the world.
Guess what? Brazil didn't even have crack cocaine until 1960. They didn't know nothing. Well, not crack, cocaine in general.
Brazil is one of the most dangerous places on the planet right now.
Guess what? They didn't have no guns until the 80s.
They got them now.
Gun. They ain't got guns like that. They got a couple pistols.
They got them now.
And they got a couple pistols. They'll kill you with these. Now this is what they dangerous with.
You mess around and go to Brazil in the wrong spots of Brazil.
They dangerous with these.
Ask that Olympic dude that They literally
got no pistols like that.
Listen,
they got a couple.
Listen,
but they got these though, bro.
It's weapons all over the world.
And
America has provided them.
And you ain't getting no pistols in Asia, you might as well forget about it.
Okay.
Now you might catch a couple pistols in Africa area, spread it around for sure.
Oh yeah,
they got some pistols over there.
They got some things for you.
But that's a whole nother story. But listen.
But all I'm saying is, I know we're going down, the boulevard right now, but what I am saying is, if we're trained as soldiers to shoot one in the air, shoot a wound shot, and then of course the kill shot if necessary, right? Then why aren't police officers trained the same exact way?
They scared, bro.
It's not that they're
what you want? Like, why they not trained
the same way that soldiers are trained?
They wasn't expected to be fighting no war.
Huh?
They wasn't expected to be fighting no war.
They're the ones starting the war.
I'm just saying though, they wasn't expected. Who graduated and went to the academy thinking they finna go into a war zone.
But police is the ones that starting the war. But then again, the police
ain't just the ones starting the war, brother.
Yeah, they are. The police been starting the war since slavery.
It's retarded black
That's the
men
biggest,
out here, bro.
I used to literally say that the biggest gang is the military, but that's not true. The biggest gang on the planet is the police force.
You can say that if you want to, that's fine. But it's some real ignorant. It's some real ignorant black dudes out here.
Why? It's some real ignorant people. Period.
I'm not
just black.
For sure. I'm talking about in the hood. If you was a police officer in the hood, and I'm not no police. I don't do police things. But what I'm saying, if you were police, because I've talked to some police, I know some people that's police, black police, and they told me they like them dudes is crazy out there.
If they scared, then they cowards.
Well, we want to see you, Mr. Flowers, go get called to a shots fired call, and you roll up in the hood. Go ahead. Let's see what you gonna do. And you see old boy out there with that Draco. How you gonna handle that?
I'm gonna do what I gotta do,
okay.
But I ain't gonna be no.
Period.
I ain't gonna be no.
Black Lives Matter.
I don't. You know what? I don't support that.
We gonna get into that. We not even gonna touch that right now. We finna wrap this thing up, y'all. We want to touch some more. I just want
be mad if you want to. I do not support Black Lives Matter.
Okay, that might be the next topic next week.
Listen, read the bylaws.
I ain't mad at you. You know, they got their reparations. They done made millions. They got them big house mansions and all this shit.
Hey, they was endorsed.
They got their reparations.
But read the bylaws. That's all I'm saying.
We gonna get ready to wrap this thing up. We was talking about
the mission statement.
we were talking about reparations and why America owed us millions. Because if you do the math, we talking about 400 years times some money. Mr. Flowers said it's to the tune of 12 trillion or something like that.
10 to 12 trillion.
10 to 12, you know, and we need that. I mean, they just gave a couple billion to Ukraine. Ukraine don't have nothing to do with us. We ain't got nothing to do with them, but we know it was an inside job. But just think that billion could have been spreaded. But we really need that trillion. We need them trillions though, because we really can do some things. And if they gave them trillions out and everybody got a check every month for $5,000 or something like that every month for at least 5 years, man, do you know how wealthy our community will be? Do you know how we can give us $1,000 and a free education?
Man, Gucci would be freaking.
It'd be a lot of black companies too, though.
Because you know we actually, as a people, as a culture, is it 2.2 trillion a year?
Man, it's crazy, almost 3 trillion a year.
Yeah.
But guess what? We will band together and start slapping y'all out the line. You know what I'm saying? Get out there, because I'm telling you, when black folks get together and we start collectivizing and organizing, then things change, brother. You know what I'm saying? Things change. You feel me? And when we come under that agreement that we not gonna spend none of the bread, you understand me, on no stupid stuff, but we gonna start investing it, and that's what's going on, you know, then we gonna change some things.
Hey, listen, man. All I'm gonna say is, give me my money.
Give me my money too. We need that. You know, I know we didn't get all the facts out, and we didn't get all the statistics, but we did bring y'all some news y'all can use. And one thing about it is, you know, we got the crew out there. One thing about it is that we need something, because this the fact I'm gonna end off on me personally. They're projecting the African American net worth, and I believe it's in 2050, but I want to say 2030, to be zero.
It's 20. It's not 2030. I think it was 2040.
Is it 2040?
Yeah.
Or is it 2050?
No, it's not 2050. It's
okay,
2040.
So 2040, they're projecting our net worth to be at $0 per black person. All right. So what does that mean to y'all? That means that they're setting their stuff up, investing. They're setting their stuff up, because one thing I want y'all to understand is that we care about the income. You know, poor people care about the income, and we poor. We poor sitting at this table. Right. Believe it or not, we poor. Poor people care about their income. Rich people, or rich-minded people, or people that's been exposed to richness, they care about the outcome. You see the difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They may not make the money right now. I hear all the black people, I ain't making no money. Man, they care about where they're gonna be in 10, 20 years right now. And it's a lot of different factors that got to do with it, because they not worried about getting killed. They're not worried about if they go to the corner store, somebody might start shooting. They're not worried that they got to pay their child support, or they might go to jail. There's a lot of things that they don't have to worry about, so they can be focused on 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Well, also, they're changing the money platform. And so you're going from the traditional dollar tax, the revenue, the IRS or whatever the case is, you're going from that to crypto.
Yeah.
And so the QFS is what it's actually called,
Okay.
the quantum financial system.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything's moving from paper to digital.
Right.
And so that quantum financial system is the game changer.
Yeah.
And so if you are not investing and leave them doggone NFTs alone.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not investing in anything productive from a crypto standpoint, and I'm not just talking about Bitcoin, or Solana or Ethereum or whatever the case is, if you're not in the crypto game for the long haul, you need to be.
Well, I want to piggyback and say all of that. You got to be careful. You got to be careful too, because you have big platforms like Coinbase that have just arrested and are getting ready to charge a number of guys for insider trading to the tune of $300 million or better. And then you have them specifically Coinbase platform specifically that's facing bankruptcy. So they're losing everything they have, and then they're ready to go into bankruptcy. And when they file for bankruptcy, that's your money that's going with it.
Right, but I'm not saying like Robin Hood and
but Coinbase is some of the biggest places.
That was one of the bigger ones.
You know, you can't get it from Cash App. You can get Bitcoin, but you can't get any other ones from Cash App. So you got to be mindful when you get ready to do that, because if you do that and they file for bankruptcy, then that money is not actually money, because they hold your wallet. So if they hold your wallet, they taking that with them, and there's no refund.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know that. So you got to be careful with that. And the FCC and things like that, they're putting together regulations that's going to stop those rogue coins from going. It's going to be an American crypto dollar.
Well, when they started sending out your stimulus packages, they actually signed into that bill that America was to create their own crypto.
Yeah.
Of course, as I stated before, Miami was one of the first cities to actually have their own crypto.
Right, but it's bankrupt now.
Yeah, and so you actually have, but again, crypto, digital monies is the future.
It is,
and so do your due diligence.
Definitely.
And start trying to figure out where to put your money at as far from a digital standpoint.
It's a short-term thing though, because they're going to bankrupt most of these coins because they're not backed by anything. They're just programs. They're just blockchain utilization platforms. But a lot of those are not going to survive. They're what they call shit coins. You know what I mean? So you have the top three. You know that really the top one is not even Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, because everything is based around that.
Right. That's the platform.
When they turn around and make all that illegal, or make that not really anything, which is not anything now, it's just all everybody else money coming together. I want you to understand that the crypto rise and crypto is valued off of everybody else putting their money in there, because the crypto has no value. You see what I'm saying? So we have to really be careful with that. Put your money into some long-term stock investments. We need to talk about that. Look, we didn't got off reparations. Now we talking about stocks and crypto. But
I don't necessarily agree with that statement. But
okay, well let's get we're gonna get a platform together for that. Okay, that's gonna be a show, because I'm gonna make sure I get my homework together, because I know something about this investment. And I don't make a lot of money off investment. Not like I'm no wizard or anything, but you know,
I actually went to when they had the crypto event.
Yeah,
I actually went today.
Okay,
so it's quite a few things that's taking place from a crypto perspective.
Get your facts together. I'm gonna get my facts together, and it may not be the next show, y'all, but we come together.
We definitely got to give the people what they need,
and we're gonna understand how does money work. You know what I'm saying? How does money work? You feel me? In the future of money, you know what I mean? So You know, we just want to know. We look here. Keep rallying for what you believe in. Keep saving your money. Keep putting your money up. They owe us millions. You better believe that. You know, we one of the lost tribes. We are the lost indigenous people. We've been brought to America. We didn't come here free willingly, and we've been behind ever since we got here. You know, and they made sure we was behind ever since we got here, and we still behind. And they working feverishly to make sure we never catch up. So you better keep that in mind when you get ready to go support these Nazi Gucci's and these Nazi based families and these rogue families that's you know making millions off your retarded self. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to use that word based on me really you know striving for mental illness awareness, but it's just all the way backwards. You know, it's just all the way backwards. But the forward thing is, let's get smart, people. Let's invest, like Mr. Flowers say. You know what I'm saying? Yes, let's put our money in the right place. And we need reparations. We need to build our own communities up, because they coming into our communities, buying our houses, buying everything, and then they kick us out because you got a little bit of money off the house. They kick you out, and then they make the house nice, and then they make the block nice, and then they make the neighborhood nice, and you can't even come to where your grandma used to have her house at.
But the block was nice when we got there, and then then we ran it down. So we lowered the property value.
We ain't had no money though. Wasn't no money to fix it up, Mr. Flowers.
That's besides the point. If we take care of our stuff,
You
a
can take care of it.
a lot of us don't take care of our stuff.
They
a lot of us ain't out there cutting yards, and a lot of us ain't out there.
You right.
You know, cleaning the gutters and you know what I'm saying.
But they knocking the whole house down.
Well, I mean, when you run your neighborhood down,
Because guess what? They're getting approved for new builds at an unfair rate.
but when you're running your neighborhood down and lowering the property value, and you're killing everybody, you know what I'm saying? You're killing everybody
They
on
killing
the
folks.
blocks
They
and
is
stuff.
killing
And
folks
so
on the block.
you running your property, you running your grandmama, them property value down,
Then you get the little old 100,000. That money gonna be gone.
thinking that's some money, and that ain't no money.
That little old 100,000. I ain't gonna tell you. Listen, that little
That
old
ain't no
100,000 gonna be gone, or you know it.
And so, yes, once we start taking pride in our stuff, you know what I'm saying, holding our stuff down like grandmama them used to do, then we'll be all right. Once, you know what I'm saying, because I don't know too many people that's out there cutting yards no more. They just rather go hire the doggone Mexicans to come out and cut the yard.
Ooh, the Mexicans coming up. I ain't mad at y'all either. I want to do some business. I'm doing business with a Mexican right now.
Or instead of, you know, you and your sons or whatever the case is getting out there and fixing the roof or painting the house, we go get the people to, you know what I'm saying, we go get them boys to come do it. But, you know, it is what it is. That's just where we at right now. Always too hot to go out there and do XYZ.
Hey, we're gonna end this cast off on a good one. You know, we doing good in our community. Let's keep doing good. Let's keep investing. Let's keep reading. Let's keep understanding. Let's keep opening our chakras. Let's keep meditating. Let's keep vibing. Let's keep staying woke, y'all. We signing out for the night. Yo, they owe us millions of dollars. You better holler at somebody that you know and tell them we need to start marching for that too.
Run me my money.
Yeah.
Run me my money.
In the tune of 12 trillion. We out, y'all. The Status Podcast.
See y'all next week.
I need my money.